Welcome to your weekly staff meeting, hosted by me, Katy Prange, founder of Katy Prange Training and Development, your on-demand, relevant training source for staffers who work for an elected official. Let's learn something. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your weekly staff meeting. This is Katy Prange with Katy Prange Training and Development, and I am so glad you're here for this quick 5-minute training for people who work for an elected official. Let's get started. So this week's topic is all about answering the age-old question of where do I start? So I know we've all been there, sitting with an open blank document and a blinking cursor, trying to figure out a way to begin writing a column, putting together a plan for a bill, maybe looking at a scheduling project and figuring out, how you're going to do it, how you're going to fit it all in. And the answer to that question, where do I start, is you start at the end. What does that mean? So when you start at the end, you are working backwards. You are deciding at the beginning where you want to end up at the end. What do you want your result to be? What do you want your outcome to be? What do you want your ending message to be? And then you work backwards from there to accomplish your goal. So how does that, what can we apply that to? You can apply that to just about everything we do, and you can apply it for very long range projects or very short range, short-term projects, things like a document that you need to write today. You can always start at the end and think about where do you want to be when you are finished, and then plot the steps to get there. The way you do this is you proactively decide where you want to be, and then you actually plot the steps that you need to take to get to that end point. And the real key here is using realistic planning and time in consideration of those things. So a lot of us work on legislation or proposals that take time to put together and get through a process. Most of us know what the steps in those processes are. But sometimes we approach them with an unrealistic expectation of how fast they can move. And if we actually start at the end and put a realistic timeline together for each of those steps to take place, we are going to know whether or not we have the time. And we also are going to know how fast we need to move along that timeline. It also creates opportunities to make adjustments. Sometimes things don't go as quickly or as well as we planned. And if we know where we are within that timeline and build in buffers for that, we are able to adjust and make tacks and change things to accommodate things when they go sideways. So that's a big part of it. So let's talk about an example. If I have a bill that I want to get to the governor's desk for signature by May, before the state budget process is complete, that is my end goal. I know the steps that have to happen before that signature can take place. So if I start working backwards, I know that I need to get that bill onto the floor of both houses of the legislature in April. I kind of know what possible session days are, so I'm putting those in my plan. In order to get to the floor in April, I need to get the bill through both houses, the committees of both houses in May. So, or not May, March, sorry. I need to get the bill through both houses in March. That means I need to get an executive session vote, and prior to that, I need to get a public hearing. So I'm probably going to try to get my public hearings in February and give myself enough time for an executive session committee vote in March, but building in a little bit of time to move things around. So that means taking the next step backwards, that I need to get the bills referred to those committees by the end of January in order to get them on a February committee schedule. So in order to get those bills referred in the end of January, I need to get them introduced by the third week of January. In order to get them introduced by the third week of January, I have to get them out for circulating for co-sponsorship by the second week of January. Well, if it's the first week of January, say it's Inauguration Day, I'm already behind schedule. That bill better be ready for drafting because I need to get going on it. Now, if I did not think through that plan and start at the end and start plotting it backwards, knowing how many steps have to take place, I might be really enjoying inauguration day. I might be, easing into committee work, maybe taking my time. By the end of January, you know what? I will put that bill into drafting. But I'm already late then. So if I know what the steps are that I need to take and I start at the end and work my way backwards, I am going to be successful. If I don't, it's going to be I'm going to be doing firefighting. So when you start at the end using this strategy, you will protect yourself from having to do firefighting. You will prevent the all hands on deck call, except for when it really is necessary. Because if you start at the end of any project, you are going to know how much time you need. You're going to know what you want to accomplish, what the goal is, and you're going to be able to work backwards. So I hope that served you. I hope it's helped you figure out where to start. And if you have some time today, sit down with your team and talk about, what are the things we can start plotting out now? What are the things we can start at the end right now to start working on to be successful? And then maybe think about in the past, are there some projects that maybe didn't go all the way through that could have benefited from this philosophy? And maybe take a look at where it went sideways along the way. I hope this served you. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you next week. See you soon. Hey, have you downloaded your free 6 strategies to become an indispensable staffer guide yet? If not, what are you doing? Get over to katyprange.com and download your free guide right away.